Nous écoutons, vous écoutez, ils, elles écoutent. Bonjour à tous, j'espère que vous allez bien. In this video, we are going to see the present tense of ER verbs. So let's start. French has 3 groups of verbs. 2 are regular verbs and 1 is irregular verbs. ER verbs constitute the first group of verbs, and French has many infinitive verbs ending in ER. Remember that ER in French is pronounced E. All ER verbs are classified as regular verbs. The only exception is the verb aller, to go. Aller is an ER verb, but it is the only irregular ER verb French has, simply because its present tense is je vais, tu vas, il, elle, on va, nous allons, vous allez, ils, elles vont. To conjugate any other ER verbs in the present tense, simply remove ER at the end of the infinitive verb and add the following endings. For je, add I. For tu, add ES. For il, elle, on, add I. For nous, add ONS. For vous, add EZ. And for il and elle, add ENT. In terms of pronunciation, it's very easy because the endings for je, tu, il, elle, on, and il and elle plural are completely silent. In other words, the only endings we pronounce are on for nous and et for vous. For the other ones, we will simply pronounce the infinitive verb minus the e sound. So for the consonants before er, this one will be the last sound of the present tense for the verb, for the pronounced subjects, except for nous and vous. Let's take the verb parler, to speak, as an example. If I remove er, what I got left is parle. To have the present tense, I will simply add the endings seen above. Je parle, tu parles, il, elle, on parle, nous parlons, vous parlez, and il, elle parle. And as you have heard, because the endings for je, tu, il, elle, on, il, and elle are silent, what I pronounce is the part of the infinitive minus er. And the last sound for the verb is le, parle. You have also probably realized that here there's no difference in terms of the pronunciation between il, elle, on parle, singular, and il and elle parle, plural. This is because the verb starts with a consonant. But when in the context, when we hear that, we will of course understand if it's singular or plural. Now let's have a look at the verb starting with the vowel écouter, to listen. J'écoute, tu écoutes, il, elle, on écoute, nous écoutons, vous écoutez, ils, elles écoutent. Don't forget to shorten je into J apostrophe when the verb starts with the H or a vowel. We say j'écoute and not je écoute. Also, when the verb starts with the H or a vowel, don't forget the z link for the plural subject pronouns. Nous écoutons, vous écoutez, ils, elles écoutent. And as you have heard here, there is a difference between il and elle singular and the il, elle plural. Il, elle, on écoute singular, il, elles écoutent plural. And this is because the verb starts with a vowel. Now let's have a look at the verb starting with an H, the verb habiter, to live. J'habite, tu habites, il, elle, on habite, nous habitons, vous habitez, ils, elles habitent. Just as for écouter, don't forget to shorten je into J apostrophe and to read it as part of the verb. J'habite and not je habite. And to use the compulsory z link for the plural subject pronouns. Nous habitons, vous habitez, ils, elles habitent. Here again, there is a difference between il, elle singular and il, elle plural. Il, elle, on habite singular, il, elles habitent plural. And this is because the verb starts with the letter H. Now let's have a look at a verb that has a combination of letters before er. Chercher, to search for. Je cherche, tu cherches, il, elle, on cherche. Nous cherchons, Vous cherchez, il, elle cherche. And as you have heard, because the ending for je, tu, il, elle, on, il and elle are silent, what I pronounce is the part of the infinitive minus er. And the last sound of the verb is sh, cherche. You have also probably realized that there is no differences in terms of the pronunciation between il, elle, on cherche, singular, and il, elle cherche, plural. And this is because the verb starts with a consonant and not a vowel or not the letter H. But of course, we said in the context we will understand the difference between plural and singular. We said that all ER verbs are classified as irregular except the verb aller. This is true for the endings. All ER verbs are classified as regular for their endings except aller, which means that to conjugate ER verbs, you simply need to remove ER at the end of the infinitive verb and add the present tense endings we saw. But the grammar says that some ER verbs are classified as irregular for their spellings. This means that some verbs will add a double consonant or take an extra accent or even swap a letter for another, while their endings will be regular. Let's see some examples. Appeler, to call. The infinitive has one L. The present tense will double the L. J'appelle with a double L. Or payer, to pay. The infinitive has a Y before ER. But the present tense swaps the Y for an I. Je paie. Note that the irregularity do not affect every pronounced subject. All the irregular spellings for ER verbs will be fully studied later on. That's it for the present tense of ER verbs. I hope you have enjoyed this lesson. À bientôt!